Hi, my name's Jack Soul. Thanks so much for stopping by this YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. Today we're going to be looking at the Chase Bliss Lost and Found and stacking algorithms. I really wanted to see if this pedal was capable of replacing two very used and important effects on my board. And initially it wasn't going as planned, but I found out some different settings and things to tweak to make it seamless. So let's get into the video. All right, so Signal Chain is my Noon Jazzmaster. Amazing sounding guitar. Into the Therme mono. Mono into the Mercury X, and then stereo out of the Mercury X into the Lost and Found into the Iridium. And then out to my interface. So on the thumbnail, it has the CXM, but that's because I wanted to be clear that I was using Chase Bliss algorithms in this little test, because the Mercury X has the CXM Hall algorithm in it and some others, which is what we're going to be using today. And other than that, we're just going to take a look at the Lost and Found Reverb and compare it to the Mercury X, and then the Lost and Found Delay, and then compare it to the Therme, and then we're just going to do some tests with them together. So after taking a look at the Lost and Found Reverb, I came to the conclusion that it does sound to me most like their Hall reverb, and here's a little test for that. And then here is the Mercury X. One more time with one short note here. So it sounds very similar, and I'm not trying to, be exact. I just have kind of been working off the assumption that for a pedal like Lost and Found, they most likely started with an existing algorithm that they had to create this. That's just a complete speculation, but that led me to seeing that the Hall sounded really similar to the useful ambience on the Lost and Found. Now, with that being said, the delay is a tape delay. So I figured the Therme is an analog delay. It sounds really, tape-like to me. So I figured, you know what, let's just see how similar they sound as well. So here's the Lost and Found. But here's a quick tip. I'm not a fan of ping pong delay, but I really want to use the Lost and Found in stereo. So what you can do is hold down both foot switches and put the middle knob toggle over to the left side, and it makes the reverb stereo, but the delay mono. So here's what that sounds like. Much better. I have both pedals set to dotted eighth because I really enjoy that, but they can both be set to quarter note dotted eighth or half note, whatever suits you and your needs the best. But here's the this is with the tape crinkle, the stability on the alt knob set up a little bit to match the Therme. So it sounds really phenomenal. Trying to keep the playing really basic so you can hear the trails. And here's the theremin. So the theremin is just that much darker, and it has that really classic little bit of white noise following the repeats, which just kind of adds to the whole effect. But if you do listen to the tonal quality, they do have similarities. And I'm not trying to manufacture any hype behind this Lost and Found tape echo. I do really think it's phenomenal, but at the end of the day, it is a digital recreation of a tape echo, where else the theremin is analog through and through, and it really won't, measure up as closely as these two reverb algorithms did, in my opinion. But ultimately, with this video, I just wanted to show you a quick sample of how to get the best use out of the Lost and Found, because actually, if you've just picked it up and it's been really perfect for you and your sound right away, then that's phenomenal. But if you've kind of noticed that each individual effect sounds amazing, but when you combine them, there's just something that's not quite what you expected, this video is going to be for you. So when we combine effects, obviously you can see the middle toggle shows you which effect is going where. So for instance, over here, we have obviously theremin going into Mercury X, so right to left. And here's what that sounds like together for the theremin and Chase Bliss CXM Hall. So it sounds pretty much as you would always expect to hear a delay going into a reverb. It sounds phenomenal. But when I did right into left on the Lost and Found, it just didn't sound the same. Here's what it sounds like. So it sounds like the reverb is being hit really hard by the delay or something. Here it is again. Which is causing the reverb to kind of smack rather than be really smooth off the bat. And so if we read in the manual here, when we're going right into left, the right channel flows into the left channel. The blend knob controls the mix of the left channel. So that's our first piece of helpful advice. So if our full mix, or if our actual mix knob is at about noon, here's what it sounds like to turn the blend knob down. So we get a lot more delay. And then when we turn the blend knob up, it's mixing in a lot more of the reverb, which makes that initial smack of the reverb even more noticeable. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I've had the Lost and Found on my pedal board that I use for live shows, and I've set it up at home like, okay, yep, that's the chorus sound that I want, and that's the reverb sound that I want. Use it together at home, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. but that was really bothering me live when it would just smack the reverb like that. It's like there's no reverb until after it hits the delay. And so the final little trick at about these was actually just going parallel. And it actually sounds more realistic to what delay into reverb sounds, in my opinion. So here's parallel. So the blend knob becomes kind of more what you would assume it is controlling which side you hear more. So middle is equal. But I find you got to put it towards the delay side to get more of that definition. But see how the reverb comes out right away? Which is more realistic to our original setup with the Theremin and the Chase Bliss Mercury X. So that's a little handy trick for you. I'm not sure what's going on with the right into left kind of deal, but I'm just going to play a couple of phrases so you can see how closely they do sound actually in parallel rather than right into left. So here's the Theremin and the Mercury X. And here's Lost and Found. Nice little glitches to the trails and all that great stuff. And I'm just going to show you too quickly having these two delays on with the exact same time signature and subdivision sounds really neat. So here's just the Theremin. Adding the Lost and Found. I think the time is just off slightly, creating kind of like a chorus effect only in the repeats. Let's add a reverb right in between that just for fun. So all in all, when it comes to whether the Lost and Found can replace your delay and reverb on your pedal board, it 100% can tone-wise. It is really difficult to adjust on the fly because of the things I was showing you. You know, the mix is here for that, and you know, you got to work out the spread, and to do tap tempo on the Lost and Found isn't impossible, but you got to hold down some foot switches and kind of be more immersed in the pedal than I think you can be in a live show. but oh my goodness, does it ever sound good. And in my opinion, you know, just from my ears, you're probably getting the Chase Bliss CXM Hall reverb in it, which I think is really amazing. It's my favorite algorithm in the CXM, i.e. the Mercury X as well. And what an amazing pedal to just have a lot of fun with. But to say it could replace the original setup, there's just a slight bit of something that is so special about the Therme going into that Mercury X. So it's one of my favorite combos for delay and reverb. But other than that, I think there's so much quality and fun to be had in the Lost and Found. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.